Good morning, Michigan. The movie season is upon us, the summer movie season anyway. Captain America will be one of the highlighted pictures this summer. We're going to go through every single summer movie, well, most of them anyway, the ones you'd be interested in seeing for the next hour with Ron Van Timmeren from Celebration Cinemas. He's on the other end of our line right now. Good morning.
Morning, Michael Patrick.
We have Eric Daw with us, too, a playwright, actor, director, novelist, and maybe movie producer coming soon, huh?
Well, we'll keep our fingers crossed. Good morning, Michael Patrick.
You do have an iron in that fire, right?
Yes, we do. Yeah, we've got a production group out in L.A. that's kind of shopping the screenplay around, and so far it's a little bit of a tight budget, situation out in Hollywood. They're suffering along with the rest of the economy, but. We're hopeful that maybe when things pick up, we might get some nibbles. So
What is the name and concept of the book again?
It's Aeneas, Last King of Troy, and it's all about the survivors of the Trojan War and how it's an epic story about how they sail halfway around the world and, fight huge battles. And, of course, Aeneas falls in love with the beautiful Queen Dido of Carthage on the shores of Africa. And he meets the African king Iarbas there, and there's a love triangle. And then there's a big contest when, their formidable enemy shows up after being long gone, after they thought they've left him far behind, and he shows up on the shores. And so it's got all the great elements of quest and story and battles and romance and everything. It's like you said, it's kind of like the panache of Gladiator with the love story of Romeo and Juliet.
What more could you ask for,
Yeah,
Ron Van
especially-
Timmeren, in a movie like that?
I love those kind of movies, absolutely. Gladiator is in my top 10 all time. It's an awesome movie, so that sounds cool, Eric.
Thank you, Ron. I appreciate that.
It's fascinating which storylines make it to the big screen. And we happen to be looking at the New York Times. It's got the full summer ahead of us here. And if they were movies, if they were books, if they were television shows, whatever they were, the concepts to me are fascinating, how varied they are, and how some of the topics are so obscure that you think, how did that make it past, the agent and the publisher and the screenwriter and the director and then ultimately the producer?
Yeah, you
Interesting.
think. You think of a couple of them come to mind because they just struck me as odd titles, like
Yeah.
the Horse Whisperer. If you just say that name, it evokes something kind of nebulous. Or Water for Elephants, both great books, but again, the name doesn't. It's not like a blockbuster name like Thor or the X-Men. Where you know what you're getting.
Snakes on a Plane.
Exactly.
Remember that one?
Yeah. Well, I'm trying not to.
Ron Van Timmeren, there's a movie out right now with Mel Gibson. I guess he's still marketable after all of his scandals. The Beaver. I mean, who would think that a guy who talks through a hand puppet would make it to the big screen?
Yeah, only Jodie Foster, apparently, because it really is doing poorly at the box office. They did, a limited release of it, finally made it to Lansing, Grand Rapids, and other Michigan markets this week. And so far, it's been a pretty dismal at the box office for them. But, most reviewers said Mel Gibson, he can still act, regardless of what you think of him in person.
Ron Van Timmeren and Eric Daw just mentioned the movie Thor, which has been steaming along for the last couple of weeks before the Pirates of the Caribbean took its spot at the top of the charts. But Natalie Portman is in Thor. Do they make a movie anymore without Natalie Portman? She's in everything.
Well, she took a little maternity leave now, Michael Patrick. I don't know what her next project is, but boy, is she a doll, and obviously a great actress, and now winning the Academy Award, a very bankable leading lady.
Pirates of the Caribbean started as a ride at Disney World, Disneyland.
I was on. It was my favorite ride when I was a kid. We went to Disney World, and that was my all-time favorite ride. I think I went on it 4 times the day I was there.
Dead Men Tell No Tales. And the funny thing is now if you ride it, they had to actually put Captain Jack Sparrow, so the movie was now enhancing the ride.
Right.
Are we done with the Pirates, you think, Ron? It's really cool as the summer comes along to go and watch those beautiful settings and the ocean and the swashbuckling and the women and all that stuff. How long can they keep pushing it?
As long as Johnny Depp agrees to come back, it wouldn't be Pirates of the Caribbean without him. And I think they're looking at another one. Certainly 90 million at the box office domestically, and then worldwide this will be even a bigger phenomenon. He's an international star, and this is the sort of movie that plays worldwide because it's, like you say, full of action. Of course, it's got international star power and the whole sequel thing. So Where there's a payday, there's a way.
One of the things that I was encouraged about about Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides is that it came from a book. It was based on a book. It wasn't just thrown together with stars, because the plots have been, let's just say, overblown and wandering.
And they all agreed that especially the third and the sequel in the trilogy, even Johnny Depp admitted he was shooting scenes he had no idea how they fit into the story. So that was critical to them to really start over and have a standalone here, kind of like the Indiana Jones, just using that character to put him into interesting adventure stories.
It was Tim. What I'm reminded of is when the Batman franchise started. I mean, back not the recent one with Christian Bale.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of the one with Michael Keaton. And Tim Burton directed the first Batman with Michael Keaton, and it was taken right from the comic book storyline of the origin of Batman. In fact, there were scenes, the Joker, there were scenes in that movie that were lifted right from the penciled frames of the original comic book. And it was a great movie because Tim had a storyline. Now, my perspective of Tim is that when he doesn't have a storyline to work from, he just wanders all over the place. And that's sort of what happened with the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. They sort of just said, well, we need to put in this panache here and this razzle-dazzle here and these fireworks here, and that's all people want. But I think they forget that people need a story that has a beginning. Aristotle said a story has a beginning, a middle, and an end, and you've got to have that in order to have cohesion and to keep in this case, your viewers hooked. And they've gotten back to that now, and I think that's why this fourth movie has kind of restored the reputation of the franchise.
Yeah, to some degree. Not entirely, because it still has you still have to sort of suspend your logic, don't you, Ron Van Timmeren, to make it through this?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's Hollywood, Michael Patrick. You can go up and down the list here and suspend your belief on it just about everything in the top 10, unless you believe in vampires. But, it's $2.6 billion in worldwide box office for the first three Pirates movies that keeps this franchise going.
Fantastic for them, anyway, and it's nice to see now they have Penelope Cruz in there. That ain't bad. And, the beaches and the rest. When we come back, we're going to continue to make our way through. We're getting toward the end of May here in terms of releases, and we'll look forward into June, July, and August with Eric Daw, the playwright, director, and actor, and Ron Van Timmeren from Celebration Cinemas. I am Batman. Now.